Asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma mrutangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
I would like to give you a very brief summary of what I have been speaking about so far, and I would like you to read chapter 23 of the book that I have given you as a required text, namely Catholic Engagement with World Religions, a comprehensive study edited by Carl Becker and Ilaria Morali. And I would like you to read chapter 23, which is on Hinduism and Christianity. Some of the concepts that I explained are already there. However, three things are important. First one is to know about the sacred text within Hinduism. I said the Vedas form the most important text, and then come the Upanishads. Upanishads mean to sit close by or to sit near, which is the disciple would sit close to the master and listen to whatever the master is saying, and most of the Upanishadic writings are in dialogical form. For example, we have this little story where in the Taittiriya Upanishads, a young man called Birgu went to his father Varuna, and he asked him, Father, the Varuna is a teacher, his dad was a teacher, and therefore he's asking his dad, tell me, who is Brahman, what is Brahman, who is God? And his father tells him, well, you go and experience for yourself. You ask this question to yourself, and come and tell me what you find. So the man goes and he does what is known as meditation, darshan. So he goes and dhyana, he goes and does meditation and comes back after serious reflection. He comes and tells his dad, Brahman is food, because without food, nothing can survive, nothing can exist, nothing can continue to exist. Therefore he says, Brahman is anna, food. Father says, if you're satisfied, stay with it. He says, no, I'm not satisfied. Then he says, okay, go on and reflect on it, go on and inquire, go and search for yourself. So the son goes, comes back after a few days and tells him, Brahman is jala, water, because he says, without water, nothing can survive. Therefore, water is required for all creatures, trees, plants, animals, and so on, and therefore, Brahman is water. To which the father says, if you're satisfied, stay with it. He says, no, I am not satisfied. And then he comes back again and tells him, Brahman is vayu, air, because one has to breathe in order to live. The father again says, if you are satisfied, it's okay. It goes on, and at the end, he comes and says, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, I am God. In other words, the experiencer himself, at the depth of within himself, experiences God's presence. And later on, this sentence is called a Mahavakya, a great saying. And there are a few great sayings attributed to the Upanishads. One of them is this Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. The other one is Tattvamasi, you are that. These Mahavakyas are taken over along with the larger context of the Upanishads and were commented upon. Now, along with Vedas and the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita also forms a major text within the Shruti literature. And then you have the Agamas, Ramayana, and also some of the large scale of Puranic writings. Puranas meaning a kind of legendary types of writings, combining mythology, real stories, real life situations, and then embellishing them with involvement of a number of gods and goddesses and so on in the stories. Some of them are very long kind of stories developed over a period of time, and then they are embellished or added upon as time went on. It's important to remember those are not considered to be Shruti literature. Within Shruti literature, Shruti meaning to hear, or to literature that was heard because it was revealed or proclaimed and from a higher power, and Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita come within the Shruti literature. Great exponents of this were three eminent people. First one is Sri Shankaracharya. Sri Shankaracharya is known as the Srutivadin. He focused his attention on the revealed literature and took the Mahavakyas, based on the Upanishads, he developed an excellent form of philosophy. And he began with what is known as the Brahma Jinyasa. So he became a great commentator. The commentaries are called the Bhashyas. So Shankara Bhashyas are the ones in which a number of volumes he wrote about the whole metaphysics of the existence of God and the desire to know God. Brahma Jinyasa really means the desire to know God. So his commentaries have become subsequently great texts. The substance of his commentary begins with understanding God as the reality, and the rest of the world, he says, is unreal. So it's often known as Advaita. There's no division. There's only one reality, and the rest, he says, is illusory. It's a shadow of the reality. Human beings, all of creation, animals, birds, everything, he says, it's a shadow of that one reality. If we say God is real, we cannot apply the same concept to anything that is impermanent and transient or contingent, all the other creatures. And therefore, he uses the word reality to God himself, and God is the only one that is real. Later on, his commentaries were written anywhere between 7th to the 8th century of the Common Era. Later on, Vaishnavism evolves out of the philosophical tradition established by Ramanuja, and he lived in Trichy in Srirangam, and he died there as well, sometime in the 10th, 11th century, Tamil probably by birth, because he lived in the Tamil region, but wrote in Sanskrit, of course, and his bhashyas are called Ramanuja bhashyas. He speaks about Dvaita, Dvaita meaning reality as we see it, and the supreme reality constitute one. Ramanuja believed in the oneness of the supreme reality, oneness of God. But he spoke about the three levels of the reality. The unconscious reality, all materials, things that do not have any growth, any life in them, whether it is stone or rocks or rivers and so on. On the other side, he spoke about things that have chitta, meaning knowledge, consciousness, and therefore the material world is unconscious. Then there's a conscious world that is conscious of its consciousness. And then he spoke about the real reality, which is God himself. And he said all these three constitute one. And this philosophy is known as Dvaita. This was later on developed by Vallabha and Madhava, two great exponents of the Vedic literature, or very much the Mahavakyas or the Upanishads. We have also subsequently literature that has grown out of their philosophical systems and also religious systems that have grown out, and therefore we have Vaishnavism. Then we have Shakti religion. Shaktiism is based largely in Karnataka state, in Mysore and other places within the larger South Indian region. And Shaktiism speak of the goddess Shakti as the other half of Lord Shiva. There are several other subgroups within Hinduism, depending on the region of the region in which it originated, and as much as depending on the times in which it originated. There are several movements. The Bhakti movement, for example, within the Tamil religious consciousness. Just as we have in Vaishnavism, the Alvars, Alvar meaning those who have delved deep into the level of experiencing God. Andal, the lady who had sung so beautifully about Thirumal, about the Vaishnavite God, because the Vaishnavism, as I said earlier, is focused on worshipping or having Lord Vishnu as the supreme reality. And therefore, when you go into the different sectoral groups or sects of Hinduism, there are smaller subgroups of which we shall not be focusing much. But it's important to remember these groups have also evolved out and evolved and developed through the different historical epochs and periods. Hinduism has its priesthood, once again, not in an institutional sense, like we have two levels of priesthood in all religions. There is the natural priesthood, one is born into a priestly family, and by virtue of being born into the family, for example, in Judaism, we have the Kohens or the Levites from the Levi family, who are priests by virtue of their family attributions, or family, from the origin of the family, they are considered priests. On the other side, you have the Sadducees and other priests in Judaism who are institutional priests. In Christianity, for example, we have institutional priesthood. By virtue of joining the institution, one is a priest. One becomes a priest by following the norms and regulations laid down there. On the other side, we have Buddhism is another religion in which you have an institutional priesthood. In Hinduism, we have only natural priesthood. There is no institutional priesthood. One is born into a priestly family, often called the Brahmin family, and the father hands over his tradition to the son, and often it is the eldest son who takes over the tradition. There is hardly any historical evidence to say about women priests, even though in Jainism and other religions there are women who have been doing priestly functions, and it's also happening in some parts of Hinduism where women are recognized as religious leaders, and they do have, there is miraculous powers attributed to them, because the other aspect of natural priesthood is one is born into a family. The second aspect of natural priesthood is one has special tasks or special functions, or one takes over special skills, and one attributes miraculous and other powers to him, special powers, and that by the reception of the people, they confer priesthood on the person. So there are Hindu women who have been doing that kind of priestly function. They may not be doing ritual functions in a temple, but they do have, they give blessings, and they receive people, they preach and speak and proclaim based on the Vedas and so on. And therefore you have women doing priestly functions to that level as well within Hinduism. Then of course we have temples and number of temples. Then there are different grades and gradations within the temple systems. Today I'll take you to one of the Hindu temples close by, and there I shall explain a few rituals that go on there, and also the structure, the art, architecture, sculpture, music, and the rest of it. If possible, today we shall be doing that, and that will be part of this lecture as well. Thank you very much.
असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतङ्गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः